everyone, we're Team Ojama. I'm Ojama Yellow.
Ojama Blue.
Ojama Red.
And we're here to discuss the Final Fantasy TCG.
Yeah!
So it was released in America last year, and we literally just got our hands on it because it was so popular that it sold out immediately.
Boo.
Even now with Wave 2, it's sold out so fast that people are having a hard time getting their hands on it. And we don't even have access to the booster box yet.
Boo.
But it's okay because we each have starter decks to work with.
Yeah!
So, Ojama Red has Final Fantasy VII featuring Cloud. Ojama Blue has Final Fantasy X featuring Tidus. And I have Final Fantasy XIII featuring Lightning.
Of course, they cover only the most popular Final Fantasies, but we are expecting other starter decks. I think like 9 is coming out.
Yeah, 9 and Type 0 are coming out. So it's going to be Zidane and Ace.
Oh.
Personally, I would like Final Fantasy 6, but you know.
Yeah, because Terra's awesome.
No, I think you mean Celes. Okay. Alright guys, grab your starter decks and it's time to open these babies. Yes! Finally!
Alright.
Oh my god.
Why don't we just start with the most recent one that just came out, Final Fantasy 13 then?
Alright, let's do this. I haven't even looked at the cards in this set. I wanted to be surprised.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I didn't really even notice. All I see was Tidus and I was like, it must be mine.
All I saw was Lightning. It's like, yes, I'm down for this.
Do we even know like how to play this card game? So,
I just know that it's a mix of magic and something.
It's like mix, I think, like Vanguard too or something like that.
It requires crystals, right?
Yeah, that's like the mana, I believe.
Oh, I really like the backing. Look at the backing.
Ooh. That's
Okay,
really
well
nice.
that makes up for the cheap packaging on the outside. It's like, honestly, look how lazy this is.
It doesn't even like.
I'm really disappointed.
If you look at it, like it doesn't really like introduce the card game in such a way, you know, to entice you. It just is a very bland white.
The texture of the back of the cards is very nice.
You know.
It's kind of like Force of Will backing.
Oh really? That's actually really nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time opening mine.
I have a hard time separating these cards. It's like, look how nice and matte the back is and how hard it is to break apart these cards. Alright, let's see what's here. Alright, so a Final Fantasy deck is comprised of 50 cards. So it's not 40 like Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's not 60 like Magic and Pokemon. Is it like Vanguard? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, actually, personally.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Because I'm thinking 50 is an odd choice unless they're following a popular card game. And the playsets are obviously Yu-Gi-Oh! Playsets because we have 3 copies of Lightning right here. And...
Oh, so it just like follow like a structure deck, like you could just play straight out of the box then.
I like that there are playsets. It's not one-offs where you have to buy multiple structure decks or starter decks in order to play the game. So there's that. Let's see, we have 3 Lightning. We have 3 Gilgamesh. The trolley one too.
Oh, nice.
Gilgamesh for the win. But does that mean we have all the other equipment? Do we even get equipped in this game?
I do not know. I mean, like, I don't know any of the rules of the game outside of it behaving like magic in terms of resources or what you do.
You know what's interesting? I noticed that Lightning here is a Ravager type, and Gilgamesh is a Commando type.
Oh, okay. So it follows actually the thematics of the game that it represents.
It does, because I'm looking ahead at the other cards, and you'll see that they have different types as well. So the next card is... There are 2 copies of Null. My favorite character in 13-2.
Oh,
After Hope. Because I really liked Hope. So he's a Commando as well. And there are 3 copies of Maki, member of Nora, and it actually states Nora right there. I'm wondering how that plays into the game itself.
I'm thinking that it just allows certain supports, like when like Yu-Gi-Oh! It pertains to a type of card, I believe.
So there are a lot of types, because Nora is something that's specific only to the 13 franchise.
Or maybe it's just like a nod off too. I mean, like, we will be doing actually a video on like just us playing later on, and then so we'll kind of get used. We'll kind of get everybody like used to how the game functions and runs.
Alright then. Okay. So we have 3 copies of Rigdia, who's part of the cavalry. That's actually not bad. It's like
the
they
art
actually
style.
focused on his face, yeah. And we have, dang it, why are there not 3 copies? There are only 2 copies of Odin. I'm disappointed. Doesn't even say anything. It just says summon. Unlike all the other cards I showed earlier that were forwards, this one here is a summon.
I think because it's searchable by lightning.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Lightning. When lightning deals damage to your opponent, choose one forward. Opponent controls dull it.
Oh, I guess not.
Maybe it's a different lightning. I don't know.
Well, clearly, like the summon is different type because there is forward, there's backup, and there's summon. So clearly, there must be some kind of interaction with the game with it. So I believe it does behave like Vanguard, where forwards are placed in a forward position.
Oh,
and
yeah,
backups
that's
is-
right. And they're rear vanguards.
Yeah, exactly. Rear
Alright.
guards and stuff.
So I guess we covered all of the forwards and the summons. So now let's go into the backups. And there are 2 copies of Sage. And it says it's a standard unit.
I like how it's like it trends into different Final Fantasies. Like this one is the Final Fantasy 3 version. So I imagine actually like a lot of these other commons are backups or stuff like that are basically the common cards.
It seems like it because look at these 2 summoners right here.
Oh,
They
so
also share
that's
the
Final
same one.
Fantasy Tactics. Lovely.
And in addition to that, we have 2 copies of Magus. Ooh, what is this? We also have 2 Dragoons. Nice. Oh, and surprisingly, there are more forwards.
Oh, okay.
That's surprising. It's a different color though.
Oh, okay.
So, what color are the purple crystals supposed to be?
Lightning?
Lightning. Well, these look like they're water or ice, I guess.
I believe
Let's see,
there are
what does the
there's a
box
mixed
say?
archetype
Hey, yours
actually.
is water and lightning.
Yeah, there's
The
different
box
types.
isn't very helpful. It doesn't say anything.
It's the color. Yeah, yours is water and
It's just the color, but it doesn't say what the colors stand for.
Uh-huh.
So here we have 3 copies of Sid Brains.
Yes,
And
ice and lightning.
the guy whom I was glad turned into a crystal. Screw him. 3 copies of Jill Navat. I'm surprised that she even has a card, honestly.
She didn't really have a real
role.
Yeah, I mean like
She was just hunting down Dodge. That's pretty much it. That was so sad. She was literally terrorizing the child. And we have 3 copies of this dumbass right here.
Poor Snow, he gets no love.
It's like, should that have been his artwork, or should it have been the chocobo hair? Personally, I like the Lightning Returns look the most.
Definitely.
But yeah, but that was when he was depressed and sad because his wife died.
Ah.
Ah, sad life. So there's that. And we have 3 of this Mog.
Oh, screw that Mog.
Why don't you like this Mog?
Like, he gets annoyed. And then especially like when you have to toss him around, it's like pew, it's like, stupid Mog.
It's like, I can become a weapon though. I'm useful. For backups, there are 2 bards. And let's see, for summons, we have 2 Shiva. The bike Shiva.
Oh, of course.
Of course, because it is 13 after all. We have 2 more summoners. And there are, interestingly, there are 2 copies of Dark Knight. There's this copy that requires 4 crystals, and there's this copy that requires 3 crystals.
Oh.
But it's the same artwork. Do they have the
It's not-
same?
it's not
Oh, they have this.
similar.
They have different function.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's different. It's just different colored hair and hairstyle. But one of them says, when Dark Knight is put from the field into the break zone, Dark Knight deals you 1 point of damage.
Well, this is because of the different hairstyle. Like this one is the main character, and this is the friend.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, so they're
Okay.
different. It's the same character. It's different characters, but the
It's
same job.
Lyneth and it's
Yeah, it's the same job, but then it's different characters.
yeah, it's true.
Mhm.
And the other one that requires more crystals says, symbol. Deal 1,000 damage to all the forwards opponent controls. Does that mean you need dice in order to keep track of all of these changes? Possibly.
Possibly. I mean, like we'll definitely go over it when we read the rules.
I
of
guess
this game,
so. Alright, so that just about covers everything for the lightning deck.
All right. Well, let's get on to Final Fantasy X then. Of course.
Yay!
Yeah, best Final Fantasy ever. Totally. All right. So to start it off, we're given 3 Tidus as our main card of the deck. His role is a guardian. Kind kind of makes sense. Obviously, it fits the role. This is the official art for Tidus when they usually do promotionals for the set. It's really nice. Looks like based on it, it gains a lot of power later on in the game, just on a course rereading of its abilities. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like that they use that artwork.
Yeah, and then that's actually the thing about Final Fantasy, the TCG, is that it seems like there's different numbers or different types of the same card, so to speak, but then they have different alternate artwork, sorry, and you know, different functions actually. So it makes it very interesting. So like you could have like at least like 5 different Tiduses, you know, so it's always different. Anyway, to continue on, we are given 3 Shuyin.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, he is the illusion. He's a backup, so it's a little interesting to see that he plays a more supporting role to the card game. We'll definitely see, considering that we're given 3. He'll probably play a prominent role into the game. And of course, we're giving the star, the main character of the deck, Yuna. This is actually a really nice artwork in my opinion. I feel that the sending scene was actually one of the best cinematics in the entire game, outside of outside of 1,000 Words in Final Fantasy X-2. So yeah, really nice artwork. Looks like a really good effect at a cheap cost, so it looks really nice. I can't wait to play her. She also functions as a summoner, appropriate to her role. Next, we're covering Len. We're given 3 of her. She is a backup and a summoner to follow the trend of Yuna. Kind of odd that they kind of gave her like the official art of it, but I mean, like, it's nice. I mean, like, Len did play a prominent role. A lot of people kind of discredit her, considering. Next, we are given 3 Waka as a blitzballer.
Of course.
Jamaican, y'all. Anyway. Yeah, looks like he plays as another forward, another basically beat stick for the deck.
You should speak like him too.
Oh no, I am not going to speak like that. Next, we are given some other forwards and backups, starting the trend with the Final Fantasy III themes. We get 2 Invokers, 2 Knights, 2 Vikings, and 2 Geomancers. It seems like definitely that Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy III, since they play a more prominent role with jobs, that they play more of the common cards in the series. Next, we get Summon, one of the best summons ever, Leviathan.
Nice.
Which is kind of interesting considering that Leviathan was not really in
In
Final Fantasy
10,
X, yeah, so that's kind of interesting.
I would expect Anima or Magus Sisters.
Ooh, I
or
can't.
Bahamut.
If Anima was it, then it would be amazing. Next, we have Brother.
Of course.
Of course, the comic relief of Final Fantasy X-2 and everything like that. He's a backup. He follows the Gold Wings, so judging from this, we would definitely probably see a lot of 10-2's other cards as supporting casts for the deck. Next, we have another summon. And it's actually another one of my favorite scenes is the wedding scene of Valifor when Yuna refused her marriage to Seymour and then summoned Valifor to catch her fall. That was actually a really nice scene.
Yep.
Can't wait to play this one. Looks like it's a great supporter.
Now I want to play 10 again.
Doesn't it? It's like, well, when you're opening these packs, it's like it makes you want to play the game again. Next, we have 3 Pain. Pane, however you want to pronounce it, it really doesn't matter. The gothic one of the deck, of the trio, YRP. So definitely we'll probably see the rest of YRP in here. Next we have, I can't really pronounce the name, Baralai. My main problem with it is just that like the main 3 dudes didn't really play a prominent role in it. They were just kind of there. Yeah, so, okay. Next, of course, we get the ever so alluring Riku in her nice, her nice outfits. I see you, Jama Red.
Is the staring?
Yeah, she's a forward. She follows Gold Wings, just like
her brother.
Yeah,
brother.
Just like her brother, and also Pain. So very, very interesting. Jason on the others, it doesn't seem like there's the Gunner Yuna, but perhaps that comes with a booster box. Next, we'll cover some other like common cards like backups. We get the Invoker. We have the Devouts, which are the sorry, the white mages of it of Final Fantasy 3, and then we have Ninja as well. And to the last of this support is also the Archer from Final Fantasy Tactics. I actually really like this artwork for the Archer class. It's very useful at the start of the game. Man, it makes me want to play Tactics again. And to finish off, the last of Final Fantasy X is Sliff, which actually, once again, it's another summon that kind of doesn't really make sense in Final Fantasy X, considering it didn't make an appearance at all.
Tactics.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
from Tactics.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. We get Leviathan and we get Sliff, which is
At least we got Balfour.
yeah. Well, definitely this deck falls under water and wind. You kind of see the different colors between here in the text box, and then with like water, you get like this one right here.
Right.
Yeah, so definitely it's thematic, and you can kind of see how it goes. Anyway, well, that covers Final Fantasy X starter deck. Hope you enjoyed it.
Alright guys, so Ojama Red is camera shy, so I'll be talking about FF7 for him.
Yeah, this is the last of the starter decks that came out.
It's a shame because I think he would have a lot to say about his favorite ever game. He always tells me that there are 4 games that he would play where he would know all the items and all the locations and all the secret things, like back to front, and one of them is FF7. So let's see, let's start with the star of this deck here, Cloud.
Ooh.
I kind of like that they use this artwork.
Yeah, they kind of chose a different artwork than the Advent Children one.
It's literally him at the beginning of 7, at the end of Crisis Core and beginning of 7, where he says, "I'm Cloud, soldier, first class."
And it's ironic considering that's the title of his. That's his typing, it seems.
Pretty much. I know. It's like, we know the truth.
Yeah.
He's not an actual soldier. He's just a grunt, but it's okay. It's a thought that counts.
Spoiler alert to those who didn't play Final Fantasy VII. Can't wait for the remake though.
At this point, I'm wondering if there's anyone who didn't play 7 yet. That would be awkward if they picked up the TCG and didn't play the video game at all. Alright, so after Cloud, of course, comes Tifa. And there are 3 of her as well, and she's a martial artist. That's appropriate.
They chose definitely the cinematic one, the one where it's always in the back. It's very interesting ones. I would figure they would choose the official artwork, but maybe that comes in a different alternate art for a card or something like that.
Yeah, it seems like there are different cards for the different characters. Like there are 2 different versions of Lightning. There are probably 2 different versions of Tifa as well. But we won't know unless we get Opus 1. When are we ever gonna get that booster box? We'll
Hey,
never
stay
know.
tuned. We'll never know. We'll do an opening for that
Let's do a
if we
box
ever get it.
opening for it. Following up with Tifa is 3 sets of Red 13. I'm surprised I haven't seen Aerith yet. But hey, Red 13 is a great character.
Oh, definitely. I think he was very undervalued in a way. The story with him was very interesting, but it didn't really go anywhere, which kind of disappointed me.
Oh yeah, it just fell flat right after Cosmo Canyon.
Exactly.
It's like they just went through his character development, and after that it's like, okay, we're done here. Move on to the next one. It's like, well then, I guess.
Yeah, and once again, they chose the back to forward artwork for this one. Yeah, it's very.
It's like the
interesting
only
choice.
character who's facing forward is Cloud himself.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll change with the other ones.
Possibly. Alright. So, because it's 7, there are summons in this game as well. And there is a playset of Bahamut Fury in here.
Bahamut Fury, nice.
I'm surprised that we didn't see Bahamut in 10, but hey, at least we still have some form of him, other than no form.
Yeah.
So there's that. And there is also 2 copies of the legendary Ifrit.
Ifrit. Oh, that's a Final Fantasy.
It's like we have Shiva,
Tactics
so of
version.
course we would have Ifrit.
Well, clearly you obviously see that it follows like a fire. And actually, if you're looking at it, a lot of the text in these cards, at least for Final Fantasy X, or it's not 10, 7, does a lot of damage. So it must be a very aggressive deck.
It seems like it, yeah. It's literally a go hard or go home deck. Alright, so there are 2 other kinds of forwards for the red section of this deck. So there are 2 copies of Samurai, and there are 2 copies of Squire. And they're both from Tactics. So yeah, it's pretty much following the same pattern of 3 and Tactics having all of these job classes. So they're filling out all of these backup and forward roles aside from the main characters of each franchise. So there's that.
Well, because they're actually, it's very interesting because they're choosing specifically Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy 3. So does that mean that with other sets that are coming out, do they focus on other Final Fantasies that focus on the job class? Like I know.
Thinking about it, how would they make FF5?
Oh.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that.
Because they're just gonna end up becoming freelancers.
Well, I mean, like, there's also like even Final Fantasy 1 and 2.
Oh,
they
that's
call it,
true.
Yeah. So we'll probably see like the retro 8-bit versions of Black Mage and White Mage. That'll be very, very actually cool to see.
Either that or Amano artwork. Even better. Alright, so for the backups, we have 2 Evokers, just like FF10, 2 Black Mage, just like 13, and 2 Magus.
Which is like 13 again.
Just like 13. And to round off the red or fire section, there are 3 copies of Sangan, Martial Arts Master.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I'm surprised that he has a card, but this works out.
Oh, I mean, like, it's very interesting that you chose this one in particular. Considering that, obviously, the martial artist class follows the monk class, they chose this one. I mean, I was very surprised that they chose the Zangan over, like, the other ones. But, I mean, like, it's better than, like, the other, like, if they did, like, Final Fantasy Tactics or something.
You know what's interesting, too? His card has something that says EX right there and an EX burst. Now I'm looking at the other cards, it's like, how come Cloud himself doesn't have that? Neither does Tifa. It's like, why does it have to be Zangan?
Well, EX must obviously mean something. I know EX in, like, the games of, like, Dissidia.
Yeah.
When you perform the EX, it's like
Right.
you're reaching your limits, you perform, like, a very powerful move.
Like a
and
limit
EX
break.
Burst, yeah. And EX Burst is kind of like the same concept. I mean, Limit Break went under different names throughout the series. Like,
Yeah.
There was Trance in Final Fantasy 9 and 6.
Yes.
Yeah, Limit Break, and then there were, you know, that's how it follows them.
Right. Alright, so for this, what's yellow again?
Yellow is Earth.
Yellow is Earth? Alright. Alright, so for Earth, let's start off with 3 copies of Barret.
Huh, they chose.
Avalanche Operative. They didn't list him as Avalanche Founder.
Well, I guess
Kinda
it's just to
bad.
be
He was
thematic.
demoted. I guess so.
Which artwork is that one actually? Is that Crisis Core or is that
It looks like it's Advent Children already.
No.
No,
You
right?
know what? I think it's actually the. What was the game that Vincent was in? Cerberus? Dirge of Cerberus?
Yeah, Dirge of Cerberus.
So it must be that one then.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been that one.
Uh-huh.
Okay, speaking of Vincent, hey, we have 3 copies of him.
Ooh. Especially in the nice art. He's a gunslinger. Earth. Very interesting, actually, choice considering who he is, but I guess Earth fits. I don't think there is a dark archetype yet, so.
No, possibly not. It's like, I know he was crappy, his limit break was crappy, but I always used him in 7 reasons. Alright, no regrets. I still beat the game. I just couldn't beat Thornberry. Thornberry was the worst.
Oh god.
Alright. Speaking of Avalanche, we have 3 copies of Wedge, 3 copies of Jessie, and 3 copies of Biggs.
Ooh, you know, you definitely have one without all the others 3.
Definitely can't leave him out.
Until the Section 8 was destroyed.
Oh my god. That was so sad.
I know, it's like, what happened?
Sector 7, the plate's falling, and it's like, no, and they all died. That actually made me really sad.
I know.
Ugh.
I like the artwork that they chose for these ones though. It's really more definitive than they did in the original Final Fantasy 7 game.
It's not blocky and pixelated like the original game. Oh man. Now I'm looking at the rest of the cards, and I don't see Aerith here.
Oh, so she probably comes in the
surprising.
booster box, then, maybe.
She's the money card, most likely. It's like everyone's gonna be like, "Where's Aerith?"
That'd be such a teaser.
Imagine if they use the artwork where she was in the lake and she got stabbed.
Well, I mean, like clearly one of the they don't have Sephiroth in here, so
Oh, that too. Well, they can't have Sephiroth in the same deck as Cloud.
of course.
He has to have his own deck. Alright, so for the last 4 forwards of this deck, we have 2 Black Belts and 2 Dark Knights.
Interesting
Alright.
choices.
Yeah, the Black Belt is a normie, and the Dark Knight has some kind of effect. But they're both standard units.
Yeah, but if you actually look at it, look at the Black Belt. He has no effect, but he's 8,000.
I know, I was about to point that out. And Dark Knight here says, for each point of damage you have received, Dark Knight gains plus 1,000 power. Oh, okay, so it's better mid-game. Alright then. Okay. And for the last 2 backups, there are 2 copies of Monk.
Oh, so that's the monk that I was looking at.
So, what is this? You're supposed to tap it? You're supposed to tap it and pay a crystal, right?
Yeah. And then choose a forward, and it gains.
And gains plus 2,000 till end of the turn.
Okay, so it definitely
Okay.
shows.
How come it doesn't power itself up?
Well, it is
Or
a
maybe
backup.
it could choose itself.
No, it's a
Oh, no,
backup
it's a
unit.
backup, yeah.
Yeah, so it can't do that.
Yeah.
So,
Alright.
well, maybe they play different roles. Maybe a backup can choose, but then none of the backups have actually attack points. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's true. Yeah, so it can't even attack anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
They're pretty much just there to buff or
Yeah.
to debuff, possibly the opponent.
Yeah.
And for the last 2 cards of this deck, we have the Summon Golem.
Ooh,
Hmm.
that's a rare one.
I'm surprised it's not Knights of the Round. I'd be happy if it were Knights of the Round, but you know, it's probably a money card in Opus 1 as well. So there's that. So
Oh,
those
nice.
are all the cards. And I am excited to start playing these decks. So our mission now is to see all these and to learn how to play this game. And stay tuned and look forward to our, what do we call this? Battles? Duels?
I think it's just.
Or
well,
just fights. It's not
yeah.
even fights. It's, oh, encounters. There we go.
Yeah, there are counters. All right.
Yeah, alright.
All right.
Stay tuned for our FF Encounters.
Yep, the fun is just getting started.